Hi everyone, we meet again on tvsarawak.com. I'm Rajinda Hans. Our first news for today, care for your heart. People of Sarawak are urged to take care of their heart and avoid cardiovascular diseases. Yang di-Pertua Negeri Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud said that while busy for improving their life, they have a tendency to focus more on brain at the expense of disregarding their health. He added that this is not a healthy habit, thus urged the people, especially the younger generations, to lead a healthy lifestyle by being active. He was attending the Sarawak Heart Foundation Walk a Mile event held in conjunction with the World Heart Day at Kuching Park Lake. Tun Taib, who is also SHF president, suggested that for the younger generation to escape the sedentary lifestyle, they should take up games that can keep themselves physically active. He also pointed out the government had always included parks whenever there was a new area in the city, as he himself personally insisted for such facility. Meanwhile, the event's organising chairperson Datin Patinggi Datuk Jamila Anu said the World Heart Day was introduced in 2000 to raise public awareness of heart disease, which is the leading cause of death throughout the world. Considering this, Datuk Jamila, who is Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Adnan Satim's wife, said SHF, in collaboration with Sarawak General Hospital Heart Centre, has organised activities to create awareness of the dangers of heart disease as well as to promote healthy living. She reminded people that heart disease can be prevented by maintaining a healthy diet, sufficient exercise and, more importantly, reducing stress in their lives. Thousands of people flocked to Conaway waterfront despite the blazing afternoon heat to watch Conaway Regatta 2014 on Saturday. The regatta was the highlight of Conaway Festival 2014. The longboat race, speedboat race and F2 powerboat race were among the action-packed events held throughout the day. The event was officiated Assistant Minister of Tourism Datuk Gramong Juna. Also attending the regatta were Land Development Minister Tan Sri Datuk Amar Dr. James Masing, Sarakop Indo-Dayak Sarawak, Deputy President Datin Catherine Gramong, Conaway MP Datuk Aaron Ago Dagang, Ngemah Assemblyman Alexander Winson and wife Susan Clement, Political Secretary to the Chief Minister Maurice Giri, Sibu resident Sim Koki, Conaway District Officer Katis Noel Nyabong and Conaway Festival Organising Chairman Benjamin Angki Kaboy. International Education Opportunities Fair 2014 is coming to Kuching, Sibu and Miri very soon. Its purpose is to help parents and students in making the right choice amidst hundreds of choices available in higher education. The International Education Opportunities Fair 2014 will be at the Grand Margarita Hotel in Kuching on October 2nd from 2 to 6 p.m, RH Hotel in Sibu on October 3rd from 2 to 6 p.m, and Grand Palace Hotel in Miri on October 4th from 2 to 6 p.m. Australia, New Zealand, United States of America, United Kingdom, Switzerland, Singapore, Ireland and Malaysia institutions of higher learning reps will be present to provide students with information for a more informed decision. The programs offered range from boarding and high school, foundation and pre-university, certificates and diplomas, bachelor and master degrees and also PhDs. Some institutions also offer several scholarships. During the fair, some participating institutions may grant application fees waiver for qualified students applying on the spot. Students are encouraged to bring along their results or forecasted results for on-the-spot assessment. The fair is open to all and admission is free. The Youth Development Training Centre at Rempangi, Santubong is now rebranded as Centre of Technical Excellence, Sarawak. It is administered as a subsidiary of Yayasan Sarawak to provide relevant skilling and upskilling programs with a public-private approach for the youths. A statement from Information Department here said the setting up of CTE is to establish smart partnership with industries, particularly for hands-on and on-the-job experience. This is to match the needs of the current workforce in line with meeting the technical manpower demands of Sarawak corridor of renewable energy and towards eventually achieving the target of high-income economy for the state. Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud is scheduled to officiate the launching of CTE on October 1st. Dato' Amar Abang Johari, who is also Housing Minister as well as Minister in charge of Information and Broadcasting, reminded students to be ICT savvy and update themselves with the latest on social media while interacting and surfing in the borderless world with self-discipline and good work ethics. He was distributing 1,001 Malaysian netbooks to recipients, including students from SRK Merpati Jepang, SRK Rakyat Haji Bol Hassan, SRK Combined, SRB Chunghua No. 4, SRB St. Teresa, and SRB Chunghua No. 4. Moving on to the Malaysian news. US President Barack Obama praised Malaysia as a country that is being propelled to the status of an advanced economy due to its vibrant entrepreneurship. In his address at the UN General Assembly, Mr. Obama singled out Malaysia as a good example of a Muslim majority country where positive change was taking place that did not sacrifice on tradition and faith. He cited Malaysia as an example when talking about how countries of the Arab and Muslim world should focus on what he called the extraordinary potential of their people, especially the youth. Addressing young people across the Muslim world, Mr. Obama said that proved that society flourished when youths had the tools to succeed. These tools included good schools, education in mathematics and science, and an economy that nurtured creativity and entrepreneurship. Mr. Obama said America would partner with countries and governments that promoted such a vision. New York Police Department will share its best practices in fighting corruption among its officers with the Malaysian police towards enhancing its integrity image. Home Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said NYPD had experienced negative perception problem on its integrity among the Americans 20 years ago, but they managed to overcome it through the implementation of the best practices. The best practices stipulated an officer is considered to have committed an offence if they, among others, refuse to take report, disputed arrest or summons, criminal association, disagreed with department policy or action, domestic dispute, harassment, missing property, misused office computer and off-duty misconduct. He hoped the best practices learned from the NYPD could help alleviate the negative perception by the Malaysian public of the police, thus enhancing its integrity. Datuk Seri Zahid said he has discussed on ways to improve Malaysian police integrity when meeting NYPD senior officials, its internal affairs, as well as former NYPD Chief Charles Wee Kampisi recently. Apart from the best practices, Zahid said Malaysian police were also looking into ways to improve its services scheme as one of the initiatives to fight corruption. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang plans to make an official visit to Malaysia, with officials from both countries in discussion to find the most suitable dates. Chinese ambassador to Malaysia, Dr. Huang Huikwang, said Li had agreed to accept the invitation from the Malaysian government for him to visit this country. Huang said this when he appeared on the weekly Mandarin talk show Hello Malaysia, produced by Bernama TV. Describing Beijing-Kuala Lumpur ties as that between relatives, he said that the exchange of visits at the highest level would contribute to strengthening relations between the two countries. Huang said there were indications that more Chinese enterprises were keen to do business with or to invest in Malaysia. The ambassador further said that China's rising international profile should be seen as an opportunity rather than a threat by other countries. China, he reiterated, was not seeking hegemony. Huang pointed out that trade between China and other countries had contributed to global economic growth over the years. The envoy said the huge numbers of outbound Chinese tourists should also be beneficial to other countries. He also lauded Malaysia's stand on the need for territorial disputes over the South China Sea to be resolved in a peaceful manner. Moving on to the global news. Afghan President-elect Ashraf Ghani is set to be inaugurated in a ceremony at the Presidential Palace in Kabul. It comes after 6 months of deadlock amid a bitter dispute over electoral fraud and a recount of votes. Under a US-brokered unity deal, Mr. Ghani got the presidency and runner-up Abdullah can nominate a figure with prime ministerial powers. The Taliban have described the deal as a US-orchestrated sham, but Mr. Ghani hailed it as a big victory. Mr. Ghani praised the country's first democratic transfer of power and has also spoken warmly of his rival and now partner in government, Mr. Abdullah. US Secretary of State John Kerry helped to broker a comprehensive audit of all 8 million votes in the election earlier this year after the results were disputed. The audit was completed this month, but the final tallies and the official results have not been made public amid fears over unrest. Afghanistan's Election Commission confined itself to declaring Mr. Ghani the winner in a statement earlier this month. Both sides had accused the other of fraud following the election, and months of uncertainty have damaged the economy and heightened insecurity. President Barack Obama has acknowledged that US agencies underestimated the threat posed by the Islamist insurgency in Syria. In a Frank TV interview, he said that Al-Qaeda had been beaten in Iraq by US forces working with Sunni tribes, but they took advantage of the power vacuum in neighboring Syria to emerge as ISIS, later called Islamic State. In an interview with the CBS TV program 60 Minutes, Mr. Obama said Syria had become a ground zero for militants who had been able to take advantage of the chaos there. He reiterated that only part of the solution to defeating them would be military and that a political solution was also necessary. President Obama said the jihadists had gained a military capacity by absorbing remnants of Saddam Hussein's old army in Iraq. He said a political solution was key, one that would arise out of an accommodation between Sunni and Shia populations. Standard Chartered and several other banks have suspended some of their operations in central Hong Kong following mass pro-democracy protests. Bank branches that offer over-the-counter services have been closed, as well as ATMs and cash deposits machines in affected areas. Some firms have also advised their staff to work from home or go to secondary offices. Thousands of demonstrators clashed with police who fired tear gas on Sunday. In a statement, British bank Standard Chartered said it had activated contingency plans to ensure continuous services to customers. Bank of China said it had suspended operations at some branches because of the unusual situation in parts of Hong Kong. Singapore's biggest bank, DBS, also temporarily shuttered its branch in the Admiralty neighbourhood. Hong Kong's de facto central bank said 29 bank branches, offices or ATMs of 17 banks in the territory will be temporarily closed because of the protests. Over the weekend, thousands of protesters blocked large parts of the city to pressure the Chinese government into granting full democratic powers to the former British colony. The demonstrators were also spread across 3 of Hong Kong's most important commercial neighbourhoods and in front of government buildings. Apple has responded to claims that its new handsets are prone to bending by saying such damage would be rare during normal use. Media outlets across the globe had reported that several iPhone 6 owners had complained of handsets becoming misshapen after being carried in trousers pockets without a case. Several of the US firm's rivals have also helped publicize the claims. Apple said 9 customers had told that their iPhone 6 Plus phones had bent. In a statement, the company noted that the handset's shells had been constructed out of anodized aluminium, which is tempered for extra strength, and also featured stainless steel and titanium parts to reinforce the areas of the phones likely to experience the most stress. The checks that Apple had carried out before launching the models was a sit test, which is designed to simulate the effects of a user sitting down on a hard surface with the phone in their back pockets thousands of times over the course of several years. The company also carried out a torsion test, which involved clamping a phone at both ends and then applying a twisting force 8,000 times. Moving on to sports news. Cricket. The national men's cricket squad continued to shine on the second day of the event, recording their second win in Group A when they beat China 58-56 at the Conaway cricket ground. In their opening match at the same venue yesterday, Malaysia defeated South Korea 72-71. Moving on to cycling, the prowess of Asian cyclists were clearly out of Malaysia's league when national cyclist Loh Si Kiong only managed to get 11th placing in a time of 4 hours, 10 minutes and 47 seconds in the men's category at the Songdo Road cycling course. Another national cyclist, Muhammad Fauzan Ahmad Lutfi, was left far behind, only attaining 32nd place in a time of 4 hours, 17 minutes and 10 seconds. The gold medal was won by South Korea's Jang Kyung-gu in a time of 4 hours, 7 minutes and 52 seconds, while the silver went to Arvin Muazzam Godarzi from Iran after he completed the race in 4 hours, 7 minutes and 52 seconds. Meanwhile, the bronze medal was won by United Arab Emirates' Yosef Muhammad Ahmed M. Lamadi in a time of 4 hours, 8 minutes and 51 seconds. Moving on to the Kabaddi tournament, the national men's Kabaddi squad lost 22-56 to Iran in the Group B opening act, which was held at the Songdo Global University Gymnasium today. Others in Group B are Iran, Japan and South Korea. The best achievement for the national squad was a 5th placing at the 2002 edition in Busan, South Korea. In the second game, Malaysia are not expected to face difficulty, defeating Japan on Tuesday. Moving on to boxing. National boxer Muhammad Fuad Muhammad Rizwan shone when he beat Periyar Bikram from Nepal with a 3-0 win in the preliminary round of the men's light flyweight at the Sionhag Gymnasium today. However, his teammate Khair Akyazlan Azmi, who took part in the men's light welterweight, lost 0-3 to Batarsuk Chinzorik from Mongolia. That's a wrap for our news for tvstrawa.com. I'm Richinder Hans. Have a pleasant day ahead.